Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Gary here. I was thinking about working out here in the kitchen for a while longer. I kind of like it. Now I got a fan on me today, so I'm not going to sweat, which is good. So, see the title of this video, Gazpacho. If people don't know what that is, I'll explain it. It's a soup. It came up from Spain years ago. It's a bunch of vegetables all mixed together, along with like a tomato paste and a tomato sauce, and all mixed together. It's served cold. Gazpacho. They call it gazpacho. I mean, I've had it. It doesn't turn me on. But it is what it is. But that's what it's called, and that's the title of this episode today. And you'll see why I call it that down the road. Now you ought to see this contraption I'm using to hold the camera a certain way on this table. It's not what I'm used to doing. I'm used to doing it in where it's standing up straight, and I got a tripod holding it. No, this is the contraption. And someday I'll get a video of that and put it on here. It's stupid. But nothing duct tape can't take care of. You know what they say about duct tape? If you can't duck it, fuck it. Yeah, that's a homeowner's tool, duct tape. Okay, so going on to the show today, I know I mentioned in my last one about a guy named Kevin that played in a band. He was my wingman when we used to go to discotheques and stuff, and he was a drummer with no rhythm, couldn't dance to save his ass. The first time I met Kevin was at a restaurant in Wayland, Massachusetts, which was like 2 towns over from where I went to high school. And I worked in 3 different restaurants in the time I was living in Massachusetts. So I was at three different restaurants in like 2.5 years combined. And then I finished it up with working at a gas station. But that's another story completely. So I was like 17 years old when I worked at and I was always a bus boy, cleaning tables and shit and setting tables, that kind of stuff. That's what I did. And so when I got hired onto this place in Wayland, and I'm not going to name the place because it's no longer there, but I don't want to, in case people are watching the show, ever be mortified what I'm about to say in my episode today about how they used to eat out of this place. So Kevin was a dishwasher. That's what he did. And that's how I first met him. I was already there one day, and I see this guy with long, stringy blonde hair and zits all over his face walking in, marching in, and he always had a bottle of 7-Up with him. That's back before there was plastic bottles. He had a 16-ounce glass bottle of 7-Up. And he had cigarettes rolled up in his sleeve, and he smoked cigarettes. Well, we all did. I smoked cigarettes too back then. And I thought, well, this is an odd-looking character. I wonder what he does. Surely he doesn't work in surely he doesn't work in the restaurant, because to look like that, you don't work in the restaurant part. So he must be a cook. So I guess a day or so went by, and I finally went back there and I met him, and he worked as the dishwasher. Kevin there was 2 dishwashers at all times. Kevin loaded the machine, cleaned the plates off, cleaned all the grub off the plates, the stuff people wouldn't eat. And then the other guy was in the front taking it out of the machine and putting up on racks, glasses, plates, silverware, that kind of stuff. When we brought our trays back, we were carrying them like this, loaded, mounded up with dirty plates. Some half-eaten plates, some completely clean, either way. Our job was to slide them in. We'd tilt our tray and slide them into the bin where he was cleaning. Kevin never wore gloves. The guy that was on the other end taking the hot plates, glasses, and silverware on his end, he wore gloves. Kevin didn't wear gloves. And I finally introduced myself to him one day. I said, hey, can I ask you a question? He goes, yeah, what's up, man? What's up? I said, why don't you wear gloves? I mean, to get all this meat and slop and jizz all over your hands from people's plates that are half-eaten and not eaten or whatever. He goes, what's your name? I said, I'm Gary. He goes, well, I'm Kevin. Nice to meet you. And he went to shake my hand. I said, no. Your hands are filled with jizz. No. Nice to meet you, Kevin. He goes, yeah, no problem. No problem, Gary. He said, I've never seen you before. How come? Why is that? I said, because I just got hired last week. Oh, okay. All right, well, we could take our smoke breaks together. I got stories for you about this place. I'll tell you how it's run. I said, how long you been working here? He goes, about 3 years. I started here when I was a freshman in high school. I'm a junior now, you know. I'm thinking, oh, okay, this ought to be good. He was a character from the word go, and I liked him right away. But I said, he never did answer. I said, why don't you wear gloves? What the fuck? He goes, Gary, I don't have time. I ain't got time to wear no gloves. They're cumbersome, you know, and I get my hands in these gloves and my hands sweat. And I don't want my hands sweating because then when I take the glove off at the end of my shift, they look all white and balloony like, you know. So no, I don't care about sanitary shit. I don't care. I mean, food is food is food. And then they wash it. I said, well, what about your hands? Oh, yeah, I wash my hands at the end of the shift. I don't care about none of that. You know, if I can take a break, of course I'm going to wash the grub off my hands. Don't worry about that, Gary. And I said, okay, well, that was that day I was talking about how come you don't wash your fingers, you know, and all that stuff. And so as I'm walking away, he goes, hey, I'm taking up a collection. I said, well, a collection for who? He goes, for me. See, I play drums and I'm trying to save some money. I'm putting money aside little by little each week for some tom-toms for my drum kit. I said, tom-toms. I don't know what tom-toms are. He goes, well, you ever seen that band Rush? You know? I said, well, of course, who hasn't? He goes, well, that guy Neil Peart, you seen his drum set? I said, yeah, it's massive, it's huge. He goes, he's got these little drums, they're smaller. They're smaller drums, and they surround his drum set. They're called tom-toms. And I want them. And they come two, sometimes four, but the ones I want are two. There's two side by side. I said, do they have different sounds, or they just make no, they're the same pitch, but I want them. They look good, and besides, I might use them a little bit. I want them. I said, well, how much are they? He goes, well, these are a couple $100. I said, how much money you got to put aside? Well, a few bucks, you know, I mean, $25, $30. You know, I'm putting it aside, but I'm taking up collections. I do stuff, you know. You dare me to do something, you chuck me a few bones, and I'll do it. Anything crazy comes in your mind. Just ask Leo over there. See that kid, that little bus boy, that little guinea? Leo, he's Italian. And then that guy, the cook, the prep cook and the chef, his name's Tony. That's his nephew. They got the heads up for me too. They're trying to come up with stuff for me to do extra on the side, you know. But I'm not kind of little entertainer guy back here. I got to talk more than I talk, and I thought I talked a lot. So fast forward the end of the shift. I worked a luncheon shift when I first started. At the end of my luncheon shift, Leo comes over, and he's loading dishes up. I'm loading dishes up. We're cleaning up. They're getting ready to close at 3:00 because then they reopen at 5 for dinner. And Leo says, "Hey Kevin, I'll give you $5 if you lick this plate clean." And Kevin looks at the plate, and it had gravy on one side, it had some mashed potatoes half eaten on the other side, and everything else was clean. I mean, there was some beef fat there, so a guy had eaten a steak of some sort on the other side of the plate. Kevin goes, $5? You gonna give me $5? I don't know. Give me a different plate. Hey, Leo. Give me a different plate. No, I like this plate. You're using this plate, Kevin. Come on, lick it off. He goes, okay, I don't give a fuck. He grabs the plate. Clean. There you go. Is that clean enough for you? Huh? Is that clean enough for you, Leo? Yeah. Peels out $5. He goes, that's $5 to all my tom-toms. Thanks, Leo. I appreciate it. That's great. That's good stuff, Leo. Thank you. So, this is what we do. I mean, it's been cleaning tables, taking stuff off the floor, bringing it back, giving it to Kevin. And so a few days goes by, and we didn't open. The restaurant didn't open until 11:30, Mondays through Fridays, and then it opened at 10 o'clock Saturdays and Sundays. I don't know why. My luncheon crowd. What the hell is this? Jesus. I still got to get used to this room. I got to get some more light in here. That's a little bit better. I got to get better lighting in here. Anyway, so I come in one day. I'm there at like 11:30, and we open up at noon. And I walk in, and did I say 11:30? 11? I forget, but I got there at 11:30, and we opened at noon one day. And I walk in, and Leo's already there with Tony. They're shooting the shit back near Tony's, coming up with some kind of concoction. He's working out of a big $5-gallon pail or something. He's just doing. I just see Tony doing this, you know. It's like this kind of shit. I don't know what he's making. He's cooking up something. And and Leo comes over, and we're shooting the shit a little bit, and then a few minutes goes by, and Tony goes, "Hey Leo, you seen Kevin yet?" He goes, "Nah, he's not here yet." He goes, "Well, when he gets here, you tell him come see me. I got a proposal for Kevin. You tell him to come over here, and I want to talk to him." And Leo goes, "Okay." So Leo comes over to me. We're shooting the shit a little bit, and we're getting the trays. We're getting the flatware, and then the plates and the glasses ready on the trays, and we're rolling them out to the sales floor, to the dining room floor, to set the tables up, the napkins, and all that bullshit. And of course, the waitresses and the waiters, they help us as well. So now it's like 5 minutes till noon. We open our doors at noon, and the only people coming in at noontime are the silver tops. And for those who don't know what the silver tops are, those are the senior citizens, i.e. the silver tops. They get separate checks. Everyone gets separate checks. You might have a table full of 15 silver tops. They come in on a bus, Greyhound bus. And they come from the nursing homes. They all want separate checks because they're all on Social Security. And they always get the same stuff. They get warm milk, a small salad, and soup. That's all they eat. Because senior citizens, they don't have big appetites. So finally, we see Kevin walk in the door. He comes marching in. He's got his long, strangly hair all over him. Didn't wash it, obviously. Didn't clean it. Because he didn't shower every day. That was just Kevin. That's how he rolled, More zits than usual on his face today for some strange reason. The white tips. When you get the zits, you get the white tip on the zit. Guys, you guys know what I'm talking about. That's pus, right? So we all know. Let's be clear on this. I got to prep you up for what he was about to be proposed to do. So this is a true story, by the way. I mean, I don't tell small tales. When I talk about something on this, I'm telling a life story. So Leo goes over to his uncle. He goes, "Hey, Tony, Kevin's here. He goes, "Well, get him over here." And Leo goes and gets Kevin. He goes, "Hey, Kevin, my uncle's got something for you. Tony's got something he wants to talk to you about." Kevin goes, "Sure." Puts his 7-Up down, and he walks over, and he sits there. Now, as Kevin's walking over, I'm on Kevin's 6. I'm walking behind him. And a few other waiters and a couple waitresses that know what's going to happen, or they've been prepped on what's going to happen. They come from all different parts of the kitchen to watch this shit. Tony was mixing up in this 5-gallon bucket about 4 gallons of gazpacho soup that he just made fresh that morning. And then Tony made gazpacho soup, excuse me. Tony made gazpacho soup once a week, every Monday morning. And he would go out through, and people bought that shit. I've tried it. I was never into that bullshit. It was just like, it's cold soup. And it gave me, I was a young cat at the time. I was like 17 years old, but I didn't like the flavor of it. I guess you gotta like gazpacho. All these fresh vegetables chopped up in there with some tomato paste, tomato sauce, and spices and all that bullshit. Anyway, they had 4 gallons in a 5-gallon bucket, already made. He goes, "Hey Kevin, get over here. Hey Kevin, hey, stop talking to the waitress. Get your ass over here." So Kevin comes over. "What's up, Tony? What, you in a bad mood?" He goes, "No, I got a proposal for you. I got $10 in my pocket, itching to get out. I'm gonna dare you to do something that you've never done before. But it's $10 towards your tom-tom drum set." And I'm looking at Tony. I'm looking at Leo. And I'm thinking, what the hell are we gonna see? He goes, "I want you to dunk your head in this gazpacho soup up to your neck and go 1001, 1002. And you don't come up before that, because I'm going to have my hand up there pushing your head down. You bury your head in that fresh gazpacho soup and you count 1001 and 1002 underwater. And Kevin looks at Tony and scans the room, and everyone's like, yeah, do it. We dare you. And Kevin's like, oh man, I don't know about that. I mean, I washed my hair today. Hey, it don't matter. It'll rinse out. You can spray it off over the sink over there. I want you to do that. I want you to stuff your head in there. And he's like, Kevin's like, well, Tony, you're going to be serving that up to me, man. He goes, I don't care. I got $10. I'm going on vacation next week. I got an extra $10. Stick your fucking head down in that, up to your neck. And count 1001, 1002, and then come out of that bucket. And won't your hair, get all that hair down in there too. Get it all in there. $10. And Kevin thought about it some more. He said, give me the $10. Give me the $10. Show it to me. Tony peels out a sweaty and crumpled up 10 spot. He goes, yeah, here you go, yeah. Well, thanks, Tony. I'm glad you made it nice and clean for me, but $10 is $10. Sticks that in his pocket. Now the moment of truth comes. Tony goes, if you don't get in that gazpacho now, I'm gonna push your head in there. I'm gonna count down to 3, 2, 1, and on 1, you stuff your face down in there, head right down to your neck. And you count 2 seconds. Kevin goes down, he's his head. Count 1, 2, and he comes up. We were all beside ourselves laughing because when he came up, he had chunks of cucumber and tomato coming down his face and his hair. You couldn't make out his hair because it had chunks of food in it, chunks of spaghetti sauce, and Kevin's doing this. He's wringing it out, and Tony's going, don't wring it out on the floor. I just cleaned that. Get over here, wring it out in the bucket. You don't want to waste nothing. So he comes over and he's wringing his hair out in the bucket, squeezing all that gazpacho from his hair follicles back into the bucket of soup that they're going to serve. Yeah, that was probably one of the craziest things I've ever seen done in that restaurant. I couldn't believe it. I mean, of course, there was no health codes back then, and you don't know, what jizz came off of his face. Maybe a zit popped while he was down there. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what happened when his head was down there? And he's doing this. He's coming out and he's wiping his face and eating it. He's wiping his face and eating the shit off of his face. That's how foul Kevin was. Kevin had a way, man. He was weird as hell. All right? So we laughed our asses off for a good hour on that one. Everybody was in tears. Tony, big fat cook, he's just laughing his ass off because I can't believe you did it, you crazy fuck. I can't believe you fucking did it. $10, that's the easiest $10 you ever made, huh? So that was probably a record breaker, that one. So then let's fast forward to the end of the shift. Kevin's all cleaned up. He went to the sink and he had one of those long sprayers and he's spraying off his head. And you see just mounds and mounds of jizz coming off of his head, out of his hair, and he cleaned up pretty good. Still had some down around his neckline that fell down below his shirt. And he's pulling out pieces of cucumber and eating it. The guy was an animal. The guy was a fucking animal. So towards the end of the shift, we had like 2 hours left in the shift, and it was starting to slow down a little bit. I mean, the luncheon crowd was starting to slow down just a little bit. And Kevin comes up to me and goes, "Hey, Gary, you ever done nitrous oxide?" I said, "What is it?" "Oh, it gets you high. It's called nitrous. It gets you high. We got some of that here. We'll get Leo. Leo knows where it is. Hey, Leo, come here a second. We could turn Gary onto something different. He's never tried this stuff before. Sure, don't say it too loud, because we aren't allowed to do this, Gary." So Leo comes over, And there's Kevin and Leo. Leo says, "You've never had oxide? You never had nitrous?" I said, "No." He thought, "Oh, let's go back. Let's go back." So we go back to the cooler where they kept all the cakes, all the pies, all the... There was like 2 coolers, one for the meat and the chicken and all that, and then the other one for cake and pie. And on the bottom rung were these cardboard boxes. You open up the box and you had like 6 cans of ready whipped whipped cream in these cans. Kevin goes, "I'll show you how you do it, Gary. This is how you do it." He popped the top off, shook it up a little bit, kept it down like this, and put his mouth over it and hit and squeezed it. And no cream came out. Well, not a lot of cream came out, but he got the air in his mouth and then inhaled it. He goes, "Ooh, yeah." You know, it's like they were getting stoned on nitrous oxide, and they showed me how to do it. I was loving that stuff. They call them whippets. I guess the term nowadays is whippets. They got whippet dispensers. I haven't done that in a long time. I wouldn't mind doing that again. That was fun. Anyway, we cleared out 2 cases worth that day. We went through 2 cases in the cooler that day. We didn't care. We put the boxes back together and everything, and clearly they had been opened, but no one was going to check, you know. So Kevin said, he goes, "Gary, what you do is you take 1 can out of each of them and you chuck them in the garbage can." And I say, "Well, there's whipped cream in it." He goes, No, the whipped cream coming out of there after the nitrous is gone, it's going to be all fucking water, Gary. Don't worry about it. We just chuck in the garbage can, so when the waitresses and the waiters come in for the whipped cream, they don't see that someone had gone in there and done the nitrous. Like we do, probably once a month. We do the nitrous. We're doing it today because we wanted to introduce you into it, Gary. Waiters are in there. Waitresses are in there, pulling these cans out, squirting it on top of hot butt sundaes, and it's coming out like liquid. And the first one that does it, this lady, one of our waitresses, she goes, "God damn it, Leo! Were you in this box, you son of a bitch? Leo, where are you, you little giddy? Where are you, Leo?" Oh man, it was fucking hilarious. I mean, those were the good old days. Back then, we would do all kinds of shenanigans in that restaurant. That's just the tip of the iceberg. But in closing, I got one more story from that restaurant. This is going a little longer than I wanted to go, but I gotta share this next one. When you walked in the front door of this restaurant, they had this fish tank that was about 10 feet long and about, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet high. It was like a 1,000-gallon tank. It was huge, and they had saltwater fish in this tank. It was pretty nice. They had all kinds of fish coming through there and stuff. They had rock formations in the bottom and everything. It was really kind of neat. And then they had a gangplank across the top that was all bordered out so people and customers couldn't see it, where people walked over the top and they opened up the top part so they could clean the tank and feed the fish from up the top. It was really quite the spectacle. And on the other side of this fish tank was the tables. The tables started there, so when people were eating their dinner, they can socialize at their dinner table and they could look at the fish. Look at the fish. Well, one night, this was, I don't know, fast forward a month, because this took place in the summertime. So fast forward like a month after that Gazpacho soup incident, Tony dared Kevin to stuff his head down in that tank. Tony took up a collection. He said, "We gotta pay this guy $20. You get $20 every." I chucked in $3, I think, and all the bus boys chucked in some money enough to make it $10, $11, and the waiters and the waitresses, they rounded up. It came to like $21, and Kevin took it. It was the end of his shift anyway. He didn't care, and it was a full house. The dining room was packed, and the 2 tables in front of the tank were filled with people at the tables. And I didn't see this, I knew he was gonna do it, but I didn't know when. I didn't know when it was gonna happen. I had no clue when it was gonna happen. I'm out bussing tables, working the floor, and all of a sudden I hear this little girl in the front of the restaurant scream at the top of her lungs. And we all go to the front, and here's Kevin. Kevin's got his face dunked down in the tank, and he's looking at the people doing upside down in the tank. His hair's all over the place, blowing bubbles. Bubbles are coming up. I'm surprised he didn't get fired for that. Bob was the maitre d' / manager. Bob, he was off that day. That was the funniest fucking thing I'd ever seen. The Gazpacho was pretty bad, but the tank, that was something else too. But and this is just one of my other stories I had for you with Kevin. I have a couple more about Kevin, but I'm not going to share them today because Kevin followed me around from different jobs when I lived in Massachusetts. That guy was a nutbag. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this show today. It's good hanging out. I did this afternoon, by the way. I don't ever record in the afternoon, but I was feeling squirrely. So anyway, you guys all have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace out.